the value of DevOps, why it's important you learn DevOps. And actually, if you're coming into tech for the first time, or you've been learning DevOps already, and you actually got to some point and you were tired and you were like, oh, is this worth it or not? This video is for you because it's going to help you understand the essence and how important it is in you helping your business or any other business to thrive online. So have you heard there are websites that doesn't have web applications? We call them static websites. Static websites are websites that doesn't have any form of sign in or sign up kind of button. You can see this example of this website now. That you can work, about, and contact. You can see it's just showing us stuffs, basically, no any form of sign in or sign up or something. You just see those kind of websites. They are more or less static websites that doesn't really have anything to do with collecting your information or you having to input stuff on it. This is another example. You can see services, you can see amenities, testimonials, frequent asked questions, and content. So these are not web application websites. These are static websites. They just have information. They're not collecting any details from you. They're not asking you to sign up or sign in or do anything precisely. It's just transferring information to you. So, but if you want to check out a website that has a web application, this is an example. If you look at the Gravy, you can see home, about us, background music, creativity studio, etc. Now, client login. The client login is an example of the fact that this website is a web application website. It's not a static website. In other words, if I click on client login, immediately it comes to the point where I either sign in or sign up or something. That means that this website has an application behind it, right? And look at this reservation. Reservation. If you click on reservation, in other words, for the customer to reserve a space in this organization or in this business, it has to go through this website, this application on the website, and then sign up and then do stuff. So this is exactly what I'm trying to say, that some website doesn't have applications attached, some have applications attached. And for you to understand that the job of a DevOps engineer is primarily to deploy web applications. Yes, to deploy web applications. So even though you might have a business of your own or you are thinking of setting up a business and your business is likely to have a website, this website might either have a web application or might not have a web application. It's just up to how you figure it out or how you look at it. And that will determine, that will be informed based on what you want to achieve with that website. So you can see that this website, for instance, it has no application. If we go to work, you can see work. If we go to about us, no request for signing in or signing out. Contacts, you can see it. Resume, you can see it. So meaning that there are websites that doesn't request for any sign-in details or sign-up details, and all the information that's being displayed on the website is just telling you about them, right? So these are kind of websites that are not web application websites. They are static websites. Now, for you to be able to be a DevOps engineer, you should understand the difference between a static website and a web application website. Now, website that has web application, you are expected to deploy the application. That is your goal. That is your role. And that is where you see login, sign up, sign in, or all this kind of stuff. These things will show to you, that you needed to sign in, or if you want to do anything logical on that website, you must sign up or sign in or input your details. So that is the kind of web application. And it's not limited to that, because there are other websites. It could be an AI app. It could be an application that is not even requesting for you to sign up, but rather to do some few stuff on it before you can get a particular results. So any website you see that has all of this information or this kind of arrangement, they are web application websites. So now the job of a DevOps engineer is to deploy the web applications. Meanwhile, the job of the software developer, for instance, look at this guy. He's a software developer, he's a web developer. So their goal is to write the front end or back end of the application, or the web application you as a DevOps engineer want to deploy. So their job is to develop the website, is to write the code, but your job is to deploy it. So as a cloud DevOps engineer, you are expected to be savvy in deploying applications like this, so that customers can come to the website and sign up or sign in and do several activities without having to have any form of problem. Okay. So now for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you an example of what we've deployed so that you can see how it works. So let me close out all of this. It's now, I believe you understood this better. So let me close out all of this. So we have an example of an application. If you look at this website, look at this screenshot here. This is my GitHub repository. Now I had a repository from Learn It Right. So Learn It Right is an organization. They had the guy did a YouTube video on this very application. So all I needed to do, if I want to work on it or deploy it, is to fork this repository. Now he has done the job of the software development. These are the code, you can see it. So your job as a DevOps engineer is to collect the code and then deploy it. So what we've done is I have forked that onto my repo down here. You can see my Visual Studio Code here. You will need Visual Studio Code to be able to do this kind of stuff in order for you to be able to deploy. Now let's also go straight to the AWS platform. There are many platforms you can deploy this kind of application. I mean, it's not limited to AWS. You can deploy on Google CP. You can deploy on on Azure, you can deploy on AWS, you can deploy on DigitalOcean, you can deploy on Hostinga. There are many of these platforms, cloud platforms you can deploy this stuff. So it's not limited to AWS. But AWS is a very popular platform that people use because of so many factors and so many features and services. So in order to get this website, you can see that our website is not on at the moment. What we're trying to do here is to load up the pages that you're seeing here, to load up this dashboard kind of thing. It's a website that manages books and authors. But right now, it's not loading up, right? So I want to bring back to life this website. So let me quickly show you how it works. So first of all, I have a database in RDS on AWS. It's not running right now. It's not on. So I need to on that and get that started. So let's get that started. Then secondly, I also need to start my EC2 instance. This EC2 instance is a jump server. When I mean a jump server, it's like an intermediary between me, the developer, or the DevOps engineer now, and the infrastructure that I've created or that I want to create. So it helps to be an intermediary, helping me to achieve a lot, right? So that being said, so we want to start this. I've only stopped it so that I can be able to do this video for you guys and see. What I needed here is the public IP address. So watch this while it gets started. There's going to be a public IP address that's going to load up on this page, right? And once it loads up, you will see that I'll copy the IP address. All right, so what else are we supposed to activate? So this is starting up. This is pending, starting up. Then we have 3-tier cluster in the Amazon Elastic Container Service. So basically, if you have been learning or you've been hearing about putting this infrastructure, making sure it's highly available, what we want to do is to ensure that we have two services. We have one service rather, but we use Fargate. Fargate is a serverless device on AWS that will help you to run your application successfully. So what we're going to do now is to ensure that this is running. So we have to have two tasks so that we can run one on one availability zone and the other on the other availability zone so that our website will be highly available. So why? Okay, good. So this EC2 is up and running now. So I'm going to copy this. So there are some things we call secrets, right? There are some things we call secrets. So let me show you. This is the repository I've got. You can see it. I copy from learningright.com and I'll go to settings. If I don't put this secret, there's no way I'll be able to run or deploy things successfully. So these secrets, you're not expected to give it to anyone or to push it to anyone. You can see secrets and variables, action secrets and variables. So I've done the CI/CD on this repository already. So I needed to edit this EC2 public IP because I did not give it an elastic IP address. All I did was to stop the instance. And each time I stop the instance, a new public IP address is being added or given to me. So I have to copy that and then go back to my secret, EC2 underscore public IP, then paste it here. Okay. So once I've done that, I've updated it already. So you can see. So there are several secrets here on the screen, as you can see. And basically, these are very important secrets, or we call them environment variables, that you must input in your GitHub repository, for instance, so that the application can run live. Okay. So now some of this information too are already available in EMV. So don't be confused about what you're seeing on my screen right here. Let me explain that to you. You see the front end of the application, this is the code. You see the back end of the application, this is the code. Then that means for everything you want to see on the screen on the website is the front end folder that holds those information. Meanwhile, if you want to, the logic code, the code that runs the application itself is inside the backend folder or the backend directory. So everything you see inside the backend is the logic of the application you are deploying. Everything you see in the front end of the code of the repository belongs to the presentation part of the website. Now, if you see anything like this, you see GitHub workflows, this is exactly what we call CI/CD. So I'd run 3 Git workflows. Yes, I've run 3 GitHub workflows. One is for the database. Look at the migration. If you look at the migration, database migration, this one is for the database. Then this one is for the backend deployment. So then this one is for the front end deployment. So what we've done is we've separated the entire application into 3-tier application. That's why you can see front end, you can see back end, you can see database migrations. So now in this front end, naturally you should have .env file. The .env file is that file that contains your secrets, that contains your environment variables that you want to use to as an intermediary that connects your application to the infrastructure. And nobody should see it, because if anybody have access to these secrets, in other words, it's going to be an exposure and have them access your application online, which is not good. So look at this .env file again inside the backend code. I know most people, when they start learning and they see a lot of code or Visual Studio code like this, they get it looks messy, and then it looks like I say, oh, this is too complicated. No, it's not complicated. What it actually is that you must understand what each folders are meant for and what they're doing. Now, look at this env file containing port equals 3000, database host, you can see the name, database user, you can see the app user, database password, you can see. I'm going to show you this because I know this is just a test run, and also it's for you to see understand how it works precisely. So in the real world, you can't show this to anyone, and neither are you supposed to post this on GitHub. So once you see the .env, you are supposed to ignore it on Git. So that's why we have a file called .git ignore. So the .git ignore, you need to add .env into it. Once you add .env into it, meaning that this file will be ignored when you are pushing it online. You see, that is exactly what it is going to be ignored on GitHub repository. It is from the GitHub repository through these workflows that this guy, my GitHub repository is going to go to the AWS platform. All right, so let's take a look at this. So we have our EC2 running, we have our database running already, it's available, and we've mentioned the fact that we always ensure that our applications are available in two availability zones in the minimum, so that if one availability zone is down, the second availability zone could be up and running for our application. So that's that. So we've also mentioned that we're using Fargate. Fargate helps you as a serverless stacks way of deploying your application without running EC2 servers, etc. So what you want to do now, or what I want to do now, is to activate. You can see that nothing is running right now. Nothing is running. Everywhere is zero, and no service is there is a service active, but no tasks are running at the moment. You can see 0/0 tasks running. So I want to bring our website back to life. This is not working at the moment. You can see that my website is not working at the moment. Even if I try to input anything, let's just say I want to input a detail like let's just say I want to input somebody's name, and let's say it's the same person was born this day, and it's a new author. So I can just say hard. You can see what it's saying. So meaning that this website is not working fine. And what we want to achieve, as you know already, is something like what the original producer of that website had done. So let us go and input this. So what I'm going to do, this service is the manager of the tasks that I'm going to run. I'll click on update. Then I want to update the service to start running. So if you look at what I've done, I put this desired task to be 0. That's because I want to stop the service from running. I want to stop everything. I don't want to be charged on AWS while my service is not running. So I have to stop all of this. So I want to bring it back to life for you guys to see. So I'll put 2. The number of tasks I want should be 2. So that one will be available in one availability zone and the other will be available in another availability zone. And once I do this, so what you want to take a look of is you want to update it. So click on update. Let's take a look at this website right now. Once it's updated, we'll take a refresh of this and see what's going to be like. Okay, so let's watch the update. All right, so service updated. You can see 3-tier cluster serverless tasks updated. Now, at this moment, 0 pending, 0 running. You see that 2 are going to start. You can see service revision. You can see view tasks. So let's go back to tasks to see what's up is going on there. Right, so before we had 0 tasks running, but now in 20 seconds ago, we have 2 tasks that have been activated so that our website can be running. Now, while these 2 tasks are running, you can also see for sure that our container is active. So if you want to see the health of these container, the health generally, you can go to health. You can see the backend container. You can see it's running. So now it's pending or activating. So if you go to health metrics, it's going to show you the health of your infrastructure. So that means there are 2 tasks that are running, and they are very healthy. And there is a load balancer in front. So what we have done is we connected the load balancer to the container target group, which is this target group, and it is inside this target group that you have you have the tasks being associated so that it can start running. So you can see the 2 tasks now running. So meaning if I go to my website, now this CloudFront is the front end. So let's just show you how I got to that. Let's just go for CloudFront. So this domain name, I've not bought any domain name anyways. This is a CloudFront domain name, and that is the front end we're talking about when we're referring to front end folders and also frontend deploy.yaml. So these were the files that made these CloudFront to be successful. So let's just refresh our website and let's see. Boom. Excellent. You see how our website has come back to life. So now this is just to show you that you could actually run an application, deploy an application, run your own website, build your website, deploy it, either by yourself or by supervising others to do it for you, or precisely by working somewhere and you have been paid for it. Now, the thing is, once you have the idea of how to do this, it becomes so easy. It becomes so simple for you to run your own business. It becomes so easy for you to manage business yourself. Not just only manage yourself, you also do it for others. You see my point? So let's test out this website and let's see how it works. So first of all, let us add these are authors that are inside the database already. These are authors. So let's assume I want to add a new author. Let's now add a new author. Let's call his name Collins. Let's say this guy was born. Let me just put 2012, 20. Let's just say 1990. Okay. So and let's say it's a great author. Great author. So this author, we've added the author. Boom. author created successfully. So meaning our database in RDS has received the new author into the database. Meaning that this guy, the Fargate instances, they are actually running and working. Let me close this while still not loading. Let's go back to this. So let's go back and add a new book and attach that book to the author. That's exactly how the application has been written already. So let's do this. So books, these are the books that are there already that have been imputed. So we can add a new book, and the new book is so let's say it is called My Dad's Birthday, and perhaps let's say it was released today, and then it's a phone book. Let's say phone book, and it has how many pages? Let's say 350 pages, and then the author is Collins. Okay, so this rating that you're seeing here actually is not part of the code initially from Learn It Right. It's basically myself that added this rating to it, and that is the essence. If you are a software developer and you become a DevOps engineer, these are the kind of things you can do more easily. You can touch the code, though it has to do with the rules, or if you're working somewhere and if you're working somewhere, you're not supposed to touch the code anyways, but you could be an asset if you are a software developer at the same time a DevOps engineer, meaning that you can do a lot of stuff for the organization, as it were, and you become valuable, right? So that's the essence here. Because I have a software development, I have ideas of software development, I could hardly add this rating. If you go and check and Learn It Right, it is not there in the first place. So this rating was added by myself, and then I can now add 5 stars. Now, if I had this, boom, the book was created successfully. So if I go back to the dashboard, now we can find this. I can see my dad's birthday. You can see it. You can see it right here. You can see it right here. And you can see other books that are there before, 400. You can see this 606 pages. You can see this to be 317 pages, and so on. So what this website is doing basically is to show you the number of books that were written by a particular author and compare authors to authors or books to books, kind of giving you an insight into what author is wrote the highest number of pages, etc. So our job as a DevOps engineer is to deploy this application and make sure it's constantly available, it's consistently available. And that's exactly what we have done on this website. So, but that's not all I want to show you. What I want to show you in depth is the fact that as this application is running, there are other things you must check as a DevOps engineer. You want to look at logs, for instance. You want to look at your logs. You can also use CloudWatch to see what is going on in the behind. But in the logs right here on the ECS, you can also see how far things are working. If there are errors, you can see it right here. So for the very point where we started, where I updated the servers, you can actually see what has been happening at that point in time. You can see Node.js, you can see my SQL and Express started. You can see the .env file I was telling you about. You see, they were the secrets or the environment variables that were provided via the tax definition. Okay. I will go to the tax definition very soon. Then you can see the server is running on for 3,000. We saw that the last time on this Visual Studio Code when I was showing you the env file right here. Can you see that? For 3,000. Can you see it? So everything you do on the back end on Visual Studio Code is actually having impact on the application you run online. That's the point. And you can see what is going on connected to my SQL database. So meaning everything is working fine. Everything is working very well. So now let us try and do something, right? Let us try and delete a book, or let's try and delete an author. So this is a book. Let's delete the book. So let's delete the same book we just created. Let's delete this book. Okay, before I delete the book, let's look at the ratings. Okay, so you can see the book details, ID 17, my dad's birthday, the release date, the phone book, 350 pages, rating is 5. You can see I put 5 stars, so it is 5. Then created today, and then updated today, then 12 on the number on the list of number of books or something. Then the birthday of the author, you can see it's great author. So we have seen it. The rating is working. I added that, but thankfully it's working. So I'm telling you this because you can actually help businesses to be stabilized through the application they run online. And it is through this application they run online that they make a lot of money. So let's try and delete this. Okay. Book deleted successfully. You see, book deleted successfully. Now let's go back and try and delete the author. Of course, that is the normal sequence. You should delete the book first, and then you will delete the author. So let me delete the author. Author successfully deleted. But let me try, right, and delete someone in whom I've not deleted the book before, right? This guy wrote a religious book, and we don't know the name of the book. Let's assume for now. Then we can delete it and say delete author. Oh, cannot delete author. Please ensure all books by this author are deleted first. Can you see that? If you try to delete author, whereby you've not deleted the books or the book associated to that author, you're going to get an error that please ensure all books by this author is deleted. So we have to first of all go back and delete the book first, and then before we delete the author. But what I want to show you precisely is what is going on in the logs, why that error happened. So let us refresh this logs and let's see what happened. All right, you can see the log right now. You can see what happened at that point where that error happened on the screen. You can see delete failed, error, cannot delete or update a parent row. A foreign key constraint fails. So you see, the database is telling us that someone tried to delete an author without deleting the book. Now, this is an error, and it was gracefully managed on the website. I mean, it's not showing a JSON, error. It's not showing codes on the website that time, right? It wasn't showing code. It was showing actually a very good we call it error handling, right? So it shows something that is meaningful for the user. Most users don't know anything about how the thing is working behind the scene, right? So also it is. So internally, you as a DevOps engineer, you are monitoring the logs, you are taking a look at what is going on, what error is coming through you, and what you need to correct. So meaning that if you were the one that deployed the database, you will need to kind of send an information to whoever has created the database, maybe the database administrator, to make some corrections or to update the code so that things can work perfectly. However, this is still managed gracefully. The server isn't down, the application didn't crash, everything's still going on successfully. In some cases, in fact, in my previous deployment, let's go to deployments. In previous deployment, I had a situation where they crashed because they weren't gracefully managed. Like the error of deleting the author wasn't gracefully managed. So you can see. Now, what I'm showing you were previous. This was March 16, this is March 17, and today is March 18. So you can see that there are a lot of deployments that have gone on with different issues trying to solve. So your job as a DevOps engineer is you being able to manage the circumstances around the application as it goes on daily basis. Now, having said that, let's just try and do one thing. Let's try and deploy something. And I want to show you what is going to be happening when you're deploying, right? So that you can see for yourself how things are working behind the scene. Take note of the following before we do that. Take note of 1. Tax definition 11. There are a lot of tax definition that we have done before now. If I click on tax definition, you will see there are other tax definition. I can actually roll back to the past and say I want to use the old tax definition. So let's do this. Let's go to we're in tax definition already. So these are the environment variables I was telling you about that were already coded on the system. Of course, there are other ways you could do this. You are able to use Secret Manager on AWS. Can also help you manage this. But just for these purposes, you can see how this works. Then let's go to we're looking at tax definitions. These tax definitions are the ones that they are the blueprint that run the serverless Fargate, that run the application on serverless. So we can see different versions. If I click on this and I hit deploy right now, like update the service, it's going to change from this tax definition 11, it's going to change to 14 right away. And once that happens, every change or all those changes I made from tax definition 4 to tax definition 11 is going to be reversed. They are going to be reversed. So, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do for you guys is for you to see an example of a deployment, live deployment. And look at this tax definition 11 is going to go from 11, it's going to go to 12. Once we finish the deployment. So let's go back to our service. Let's go back to cluster. And you're going to see that in the Chiefly. Then let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and let's run some deployments. I want to deploy anything. So first of all, let me change the following. Let's assume I have to change something. So let's go to this file. This is more or less that file that is showing you right. It's a book length description. So if I go to book length distribution, if we go back to our website, you can see on dashboard book length. You can see book length distribution. So let me try and just change something for you guys to see, and then we run the deployment. So instead of saying book length deployment distribution, say book title details. Let's just use the word details. Book titles. Okay, book distribution titles. Distribution titles. So you see, we've edited something there. So let's go to the backend and edit something in the backend. Let's go to this controller.js. Let's go to so this authors.js. This is the file that is controlling everything happening right there concerning authors on the website. This file is what's controlling everything happening concerning authors on the website. So if you want to if you're asking it to get something for you, this part from here to here is the function that works for getting requests or getting response. Then this function here is to create a new author. Can you see it? This function here, create a new author. Can you see that response we got as this author created successfully? This is exactly this function that is working right there. Create a new author. So we can also update. You see, you can update a new author, and then you can also delete a new author. So this were the areas where we gracefully manage what is going to be said. Cannot delete author. Please ensure all books by this author are deleted first. Can you see? So this is how you manage the situation on your website or for an organization, making sure that all things are well done. So what I want to do here is kind of let's just do a tweak. Let's add to this authors controller.js, and let's just say okay. We wanted to say cannot delete author. Please ensure all books by this author are deleted first. So let us kind of change something like that. Please delete author first. Okay. Please ensure all books by this author are deleted first. Okay. So let us leave it like that. So what I want to do now is to deploy this. We have done some changes. The next guys that are going to work right now are these three guys. These three workflows. Now, so what I need to do is one, I need to check the status of JIT. So I check the status of JIT to know what's up. so I will understand what I'm deploying. So let's do this status. So now let me move this up a bit so that you can see. All right. So you can see the changes I've made so far. It's clear that I have touched 2 files basically. And since I've touched 2 files, what I needed to do now is to commit to repository and push. I want the application to have the new deployment, okay? The new changes I've made. So what I have to do now is git. I want to add. So because I manage it in a way that the migration will take place first. Once the database migration takes place first, then the backend deploy will take place secondly. After the backend deploy takes place, then I will run front-end deployment. It's always meaningful that first you run the database migration first before the backend, and then you run the backend before the front end. Front end is not, it's fine, but you want to do the big task first. If the big task works, then the small task should be able to work seamlessly. You see. So let's go on and say git hard. So I have to do git resets front end so that the front end will not deploy along with the backend. So I want to do the backend first. So git commit -m, then let's call the feature and say added comment to authors controller.js. So that was the file that we edited. So the next thing is to press enter. Then it's now time for the show. It's push origin main. So at the click of this button, we are going to go to GitHub Actions and see what is going on. All right. So boom. So let's see. Very good. So that is the show time. So let's go and watch stuffs. So let's go to GitHub Actions. So what we've done, you can see add comments to authors controllers.js. So what is happening right here is the database migration has to take place first to be sure that the database is good and fine before anything goes to the next, which is going to be the backend deployment. So let's watch it. So let's see what it's doing. Has it started? Is it working? Let's see what is going on. So let's watch. So setup job, check out code, succeeded now in 20 seconds, and see everything is completed for this. So what will be happening now would be that since database migration is successful, the backend migration will be going on. I just click on actions to see what's up. So can you see backend deployment is going on? So if we click on it, we will see what is happening internally. So let's see that. So why this is happening, right? Something too is happening right on AWS. Yes, why this is happening? Something too is happening on AWS. Let's check. Let's go and take a look at what is happening over there. So let's click on this. The service. Can you see what is going on? See it. Tax definition 12 is right here already. Tax definition 12 is right here. Look at the tax. Let's take a look. Can you see what is happening here? What's actually happening here is the fact that there are those on 11 yet. Meanwhile, they were running 31 minutes ago. Now we're going to see the one on 12. So it's still running, it's still deploying. So if we want to see our deployment, we should go and visit this. We should monitor the deployment via this link. So that's the link I said deployment started. Watch this deployment progress in AWS ECS console. So that's what I just clicked on. So let's see what is going on. Let's see what is going on. So you can see that for the past 1 minute, 51 seconds, right? This deployment is going on. If you have a larger database, larger application, if you have a big application that you're running, this is how it takes some time to deploy. So we want to ensure that things are seamless, things are working smoothly, and they are successfully deployed. So while that comes up, you can still see service tax definition 11 right here. But we knew service tax 12 has arrived, but it has not been fully deployed. So if we look at what is going on, we're going to see a change. We're going to see all of this is going to be 12 and no more 11. So effect the changes. Right. So see what's going on. 4 running. What does that mean? We are told Fargate that see, each time we want to do anything, right? Make sure it's not less than 2 tags running. Our website must not be down. So while all this deployment, we call it rolling update strategy. While this deployment is going on, our website is never down. Our website is always up and ready to work. Meaning, many of the users that are using this website right now, they are still using the website while there is a new deployment. You can see it, service tax definition 11. And if you look at the 4, trying to bring this down. Okay. So if you look at it, you will see that we already have 2 service tax definition 12. So before it was 4, right? But later it became is going to become 2. So why that is happening, it's reducing the ones that were in existence. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, the deployment is successful. You can see this deployment at this very moment. You can see it. So let's see the deployment strategy. We call it rolling updates. There are different deployment strategies, but this is the most based on the CI/CD construction we did and everything. This is the most workable, so that it can be automated. So you can see the automation still going on here. You can see the automation still going on. Now it's completed and it is green. Can you see green here? So this is exactly what we are talking about. So if we go back to action, click all of this, 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 click all of this. You can see instead of the job, check out the code, configure the AWS credentials, log into ECR, do a lot of things, deploy to Amazon ECR, post login to ECR, post configure the AWS credentials, and then complete the job. You can see green here. And now we go to our general deployment phase. We have successfully deployed the backend. You see it everywhere is green, meaning we have successfully deployed the backend. And right now we should only see serverless deployment tax 12. We should see 2 tags, and it should be for definition 12. So let's go back to tax. Let's go back to tax. Let's go back to tax. So you can see now 4 minutes ago, serverless definition 12 now up and running. So previously it was 2 serverless definition 11. Later it became 4, combining or having serverless definition 11 and 12. And lastly, it removed the serverless definition 11 tags and then replaced them with serverless definition 12 tags. So that's exactly what we call rolling updates. And while those were going on, look at the logs, just for you to know that things are happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, your users are still using your website successfully, no issues. Can you see it? Can you see it? Connected to my SQL, all the things are going on successfully. So the last thing we want to deploy, because if we don't do that, if we don't deploy the front end, this book and learn description will not work. We won't see any deployment. We won't see change. So we want to deploy our front end. So we've done backend deployment, we've done database deployment. So we want to do our front end. So what we do now is Git. Let's check status again to be sure where we are. Git status. So Git reset backend, so that we don't want the code in the backend to interfere with the deployment of the front end. So that's why we're doing Git reset backend. Then, I haven't done that. The next thing is we want to Git push origin main. All right. So when we say Git push origin main, we need to now go to GitHub Actions and see what is happening. Let's see what is happening in our deployment. So, okay, since everything's up to date. Okay, I did not. That means what was? Oh, I'm so sorry. We haven't committed. I missed that. Okay, we haven't committed. Git commit as M. Then we do feature is we added comment. We added comment to what's the name of that file? That is we added comment to app.tx. This is so we are able to add comments to this. So we git commit. Now that we've done git commit, now we want to git push successfully. So this time around it's gonna work. Okay. So git push origin main. Git push origin main. Right, so it was already main, then you press enter. So now we can go to our GitHub repository, we check our GitHub actions, and right away. So let's click on actions. So while that comes up, it's already going. Let's click on actions. So we can see what's up. So you can see add comment to app.tx is now deploying. Now, in this case, it's going to be between CloudFront, we did CloudFront and S3. So these are our endpoints for the front end development, or for the front end deployment. So you can see configure AWS credentials, syncing to S3, invalidate CloudFront catch. Then now it's setting up this and post checkout. Cool. Already the deployment is successful. So what we want to do now is to go again to our website and check if we can see the changes and the name of the book title that we mentioned. So the deployment is successful already. Just now it has been sluggish, so let us refresh this. Boom, book distribution titles. So at the click of a button, you can actually do all of this from your repository, from your Visual Studio Code, from your operation, right? Remotely, anywhere you can do this. Help businesses thrive, and you too can also help businesses to thrive in this manner. So I believe with this you'll be able to see the success behind this application successfully. The application is working, all the functions, all the features are working properly. And if I want to stop this website right now, as probably the last thing I want to do right now, I could just at a click of a button just go to this service, this services I mentioned earlier, remove from 2 and put it on 0. Okay. So if I put it on 0 right now, this website you're looking at that is beautifully displayed before you is going to be down. That's exactly why many times when you visit the website and the website is not available or something has happened, it is the DevOps engineers that are behind the scene that need to fix stuff. It could be the software developers who are actually making some changes, but the deployment hasn't been seamless. So that is how you get to manage websites for organizations. And once you're able to know all of this, you can actually do it either for your own business or for others. So let's put this at 0 as a way to end the whole thing. And I don't want the website to be on right now, so I want to just off everything. So I'm going to put it at 0. And you can see that the latest definition is at 12 already. So I just click on update. Once I click on update, then you see it updated. Then this website you're looking at very soon, it's not going to be available. Oh, let's just take a look. Is this update completed? Let's see. Okay, it's still updating. Boom, it's updated. Our website will not be available very soon. You see it. It's no more available. You can see it at the click of a button. At the click of a button, it's no more available. All the things we are talking about is no more available. You see it. So I've been able to show you guys what it means to be a DevOps engineer and how it works in deployment, how it works in CI/CD, which we have done. We have done right here on GitHub repository. You can see the deployments, you can see actions, you can see various deployments we've done. This is the beauty of doing DevOps. And you can see the database here. I can also stop the database instance so that or delete actually if I want to. So that is it. If you want to learn DevOps one-on-one, that's exactly what we do at BrosWillLearn. You send us a message on WhatsApp. We are willing to help with training one-on-one. We sit down with you, we walk you through the steps and the roles. We have genuine interest in how you learn, in what you're learning, and so that you can actually accelerate your learning curve as fast as possible, and you can be a DevOps engineer, a cloud engineer, or even go beyond, set up your own business, and begin to make good money. So that is it. Subscribe. Thank you.